This video is going to be over the fifth commandment, thou shalt not murder, which is the sixth commandment to Protestants who follow the Talmudic listing of the Decalogue. But anyway, it says thou shalt not murder, thou shalt not kill, or thou shalt not murder. Which should it be? Now, obviously, in the context of this, it is murder, because that's the only type of murder that you really deserve to die for. But the word itself doesn't specify murder, as some like to claim it does. Some like to claim, well, it's only specific for murder. It's not talking about war. It's not talking about accidents. Though it's true it's not talking about war, but it certainly can include accidents, as I'll show, because this word, tir'tzach, though not the exact word because it's only used here in Deuteronomy 5, and this is actually Exodus 20, verse 12. It's never used any other time in the Bible, but the word rotzach is used in other forms in the Bible, and it's not always talking about murder. Now here's one instance, so notice how it's spelled. This is, I guess, for you, but anyway, this is a rotzach, resh tzadi chet. So remember that, resh tzadi chet. And then we flip over to Deuteronomy 19, and then we see it's talking about setting up cities for fugitives. And it says right here, it says, and thou shalt prepare thee the way, and divide the borders of the land, thy land, which the Lord thy God hath caused thee to inherit, into 3 parts, that every manslayer may flee hither. Anyway, for the word for all manslayers is kol, which means all, and then rotzach. So resh sadi chet. So for every manslayer, but that doesn't necessarily give the context. Let's go to verse 5 of Deuteronomy 19. I should say 4. And this is the case, vezot, devar, for the case, I guess in this instance, or thing, or word. And then it says for the manslayer, ha, which just means the, and then for manslaying, or some say, like to say murder, but it says, and this is the case for a manslayer, ha rotzach. Then it goes on and says, that shall flee hither and live. Whoso killeth his neighbour, unawares, and hateth him not in time past. Okay, so this is talking about an accidental crime, an accidental death. You accidentally killed someone, and this is specific. So this is involuntary manslaughter, you might call it. So this word actually, other Bibles translates by accident or an error or by mistake, whatever. So it's talking about an accidental death, but it's still called, the person is still called the manslayer, or as some would probably translate it, the murderer, which cannot be the case, because resh sadi chet. Anyway, it goes on and gives an example. So notice this person doesn't hate the man he killed. And then it says, as when a man goes into the forest with his neighbor to hew wood, and his hand fetcheth a stroke with the axe and to cut down the tree, and the head slippeth from the helve, and lighteth upon his neighbor. Okay, so that's some cruddy Old English, whatever they wanted to use in this translation. But all it's saying is, if the axe were to slip from your hand and whack someone else in the head so as to kill them, it's an accident and you don't hate them, but this person dies, you will flee to one of these fugitive cities, and there you shall live. Because otherwise, someone's going to chase after you that wants your blood, because you're a manslayer, you committed homicide. They don't know that it was an accident, but anyway, you run over there so you might live. And then it specifically says, whereas he is not deserving death. The person who made a mistake doesn't deserve death, because he didn't hate the person he killed. It was an accident. So the word rotzach doesn't always mean murder. Then we have another instance in Numbers 35 where it's pretty much like the murder-homicide chapter of the Torah. Uh, it goes on about, let me scroll down. Okay, and now it's talking about the fugitive cities. And it says, And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, say to them, When ye shall pass over the Jordan to the land of Canaan, then ye shall appoint you cities to be cities of refuge. So these refugee cities, refuge cities, for you, that the manslayer, and the word for manslayer is right there, rotzach, resh, tzadi, chet. That so that the manslayer that killeth any person through error. So notice it's an error, it's a mistake, that he may flee there. So it's not talking about murdering a person by mistake. You don't murder people by mistake. If it's a mistake, then it's murder. It's a homicide. It's manslaughter. It's not murder, because murder implies intent and some type of desire and hatred. It's killing with malice. But then anyway, it goes on and talks about the fugitive city that he shall go to, that the manslayer. Again, the word there is found right, rotzach, that the manslayer does not die, dies not until he stands before the congregation for judgment. So they'll decide his fate, decide if it really was an accident. Anyway, there's talks about more refugee cities, and then goes through instances in which the manslaying is murder. For instance, it makes the specific case, but if he smote him with an instrument of iron so that he dies, he is a murderer. So this is just talking about like whacking someone to death with a bat over and over until they're dead. It says he is a rotzach, resh, tzadi, chet. Then it says he died. The murderer shall surely be put to death. And then it says rotzach here, the ha, resh, tzadi, chet. So here it does mean murder, and then it means a murder again. It says if you were to stone him to death, then you're a murderer. I mean, because obviously if you keep pelting someone with stones till they're dead, or you whack them in the head, I mean, if they don't deserve it, of course, then you're a murderer. And then it says weapon of wood. If you kill them with a weapon of wood, these are all talking about like intentional. You can't. I mean, you don't stone someone to death by accident. But anyway, so the word rotzach in Deuteronomy 5 and Exodus 20 verse 12 or 13 of those most translations. So when it says do not tir'tzach, the context here, yeah, it's talking about capital crime. So you would say, yeah, it does mean murder, but the word itself, resh, tzadi, chet, doesn't always refer to murder. It can refer to homicide, involuntary, or whatever you want to call it. Anyway, this is Brahim Selassie, the Orthodox Catholic. Happy New Year, and God bless.